All right, so back on the SP404, just wanted to talk about a feature that I myself haven't used in a long time. And it's been there, I think, for a while, but I just don't know why I never really chose to use it. And I think part of it is it's so easy on the SP404 Mark II to create a loop. So I really had no purpose in it. But let's say you have this sample here and you're listening to it. So let's see. Now this is an easy one, and I'm doing it this way to demonstrate it because it's just a percussive loop. But let's say you want to you found a point that you like. I'm gonna stop it now. Hold on a second. Let's say you found a point that you like in here where you want to start the loop. Well, you could scrub the loop using this, the left and the end to do it. That's one easy way. But my suggestion on this particular way is going to allow you to use your ear to time it, right? So when I say time it, you count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and mark it where you want. That's the mark loop. So that's what we're going to talk about, because it used to be, I think that was the only way you had when you didn't have the screen showing you the actual stuff. So you could train your ear to get your timing down and find your points quicker. So I figured we'd revisit something that's really an oldie thing for the SP that's been around. Just because some people don't want to deal with the screen. I mean, they're going to have to deal with it to some degree, right? You got to see it. But if you didn't want to deal with that and you wanted to try to go about it an old way and really start training your ear to be better at finding points, this is the way to do it. All right, let's get right to it. So simply put, I'm going to set up a loop. You don't have to have a loop on to do this. You could turn it off if you don't want. I just turned it on because eventually I will loop it. But what we're going to do is mark the point we want to start. So if we start playing this right here, I'm going to find a point where I want to start counting, and I'm going to count it in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's my start. And if I hit it again, it's going to set it in. Boom. Now I just created a loop using that. And it's perfectly looped. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing I suggest doing. I didn't do it here, but I'm going to suggest it. Let me stop it. This blinking resample button here is zero snap. So if you turn on zero snap, it will place the marker at a zero snap so you don't have any clicks or pops at the beginning of or the end of your loop. I highly suggest do that. Use the roll button to test and see if the loop is where you want it. It plays it toward the end. And you can hold the roll down to test where you want it. If you hit this button and you have loop on, you can stop it. But this is a quick way to get to the end of the loop, especially if you're doing a longer loop. Like this is probably only like 2 bars, right? So it's not that long. It's not a big deal. But if you're doing something where it might be 8 bars and you want to test the end, just use your roll button to do that. But the mark button gets slept on because most people, like myself, now use it for either skip back, or we use it for to go into for the looper, right? Which is easy to do in the looper. I can't deny it's pretty easy. But now let's say if you wanted this to keep this, you could always hit the menu and truncate it, right? And that's just chopping it down. I'm not going to do that because these samples, I want them embedded in here. I can always just copy this pad and not have to get rid of the original. So if I exit out, I can just go copy, press this button, and now I have that sample up here, and I still have my marks. So now I know that's a loop. Now if I want to truncate up here, right, I'm going to go ahead and do that, truncate. Now I have my loop. There you go. So now that's how you get that loop. So counting is important, obviously, in this. And if you do some counting, you can create quick loops really fast. The mark button allows you to time it, and you can use that. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you're going to go in and just, and you're going to go in and what you're going to find is that you're going to have to just search out the points. Now, you could do that. Here, watch this. I'm going to copy this over to here. So here's that same loop. Let's say if I was going to go and I'm going to take loop off. Put on gate so I can do it. You could turn gate on And when gate's on, you have to hold it down. So it gives you a chance to control on and off for a while till you set your loop point, a new loop point, if that's what you were going to do. So let's say that's the new loop point. Now, if you don't turn on zero snap, you risk it for a biscuit to say that you're going to land on a 0 point. So I would say turn that on. And then when you get close to the sample, visibly that you can see it, you could always zoom in. See, I'm not even on that sample right there at it. I could go a little closer. With zero snap, I'm not worried so much. You want to get even closer, you could go zoom in. I think 11 times is the max. There you go. That's pretty good. So you see, the mark button is really a useful tool still, even though a lot of people probably won't use it as much now because we have the visible thing on the screen, to where you can create some quick loops, use counting 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not that complicated, right? To know, especially in 4/4, to be able to just count out the beat and find where you want it to start. This doesn't just work on drums. You can do this on other samples too. I'm just showing you on drums because it's a quick way to show you something easy so you can kind of get the sense of what I'm talking about. Whereas with other samples, you know, you're going to have to, it's going to be a little bit more challenging because obviously drums are easier to count. So there you go. So that's all I wanted to show you. Use that mark feature to time your marks where you want it to be, especially let's say if you record something in skip back and you bring it to a pad, but you didn't cut it out maybe as far, but you want to cut it out in a pad where you have the markers. You could use the markers there too to be able to just set, and you're really editing your sample because that's what it's called, sample edit, right? So you're basically setting the loop points where you want it to be. So that's a quick way to do it. Of course, there's other ways to do it. The SP has multiple ways sometimes to do one thing. So you just got to figure out what flow you like, and whatever works for you, just roll with it, right? All right, guys, until the next one, I'm out.